Hello everyone, Happy New Year. This is just a short video to show you some of the bilingual or dual language books that I have and some recommendations that you might find useful, and also some ways that you could find and do it for free. So here goes. Okay, so first up is my absolute favourite. This is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupey. If you're not familiar with this book, it is fantastic. It is a sentimental, philosophical book. It's about a pilot that crashes into the desert and he meets this little prince that's from another planet, and the little prince tells him stories about all the little planets he's been to and his encounters with a snake, a fox and his rose, and it really is such a beautiful story. And if you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend it. This is a really fantastic place to start if you've never read anything French, and this particular edition is fantastic because it comes with audio, and this is the Emilia Languages one. It has French and English audio, and then it has 2 columns on each page with the French and the English. Let me show you. Like this. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that very well. But it has some sentences are underlined, so it's easier to follow. It's just such a lovely story. I really recommend it, and the author himself is actually really interesting, and he's led a fantastic life, and he's written about that as well. And I've got some of his other books which I'll show you in a moment. So that's that one. And then there's like more traditional texts that you might get given for school, I suppose. I've seen this one in Waterstones, but I actually got this for £1 in a charity shop, and it looks basically brand new. This is the Penguin French parallel text things, and it's got 12 short stories with parallel translations, offering students of French at all levels the opportunity to enjoy a wide range of contemporary literature without having to constantly refer back to the dictionary, and for that reason it is fantastic. I personally didn't really enjoy the stories too much that were in here, but again, if you want to learn more vocabulary and use contemporary texts, this is just a really simple, easy way to go. I'll link below, and then you can like look at maybe I'll write below all the authors and things, but I'm not too familiar, to be honest, with any of the authors in this edition. Then I've got 2 books by this fantastic publisher called Dover, and the 2 that I have are this one is Candide by Voltaire, and again it's just the one with the English on the right and the French on the left. This book was originally published, I believe, in 1759, so the French is a little out of, not like contemporary French language, but it's such a funny story and you will learn lots of vocabulary, and yeah, I really enjoyed this edition. I bought mine off eBay secondhand and it was really cheap, so this one is really fun, so try that one. And then I also, because I enjoyed that particular one, got this one, and these Dover books are really good, by the way. I think, is it this one? Yeah, this one's got notes and questions in the back of it as well. So you can do a bit of schooly type stuff if you're into that. And this is also a really nice introduction to some of the like very famous French authors. And yeah, this is 10 short stories, Voltaire, Balzac, Camus, etc. I'm sure you've heard of them before. Really high quality translations. I really like these Dover books a lot, and yeah, it's got good stories in it as well, so I love this one. Then what have we got? Oh yeah, I've got this one, which is a French book from the publishers Folio, and they do a bilingue range, Folio bilingue, can you see that? And this particular one is Rudyard Kipling's Just So stories, and I bought this because I just wanted like lots of little short stories that I could just like they're very short, you could just read 1 or 2 or whatever a day. And yeah, so this is translated from English into French, which is different to my other books. So you can sort of see a little bit about how the process of translation works, and you don't necessarily always agree with the way that they've translated things, especially in poetry and things. You're like, that's saying something slightly different, but then you're thinking about it, and yeah, so I really like these. And this particular range, these Folio ones, they do absolutely tons of different books, so if you Google that, I'm sure you'll find one that appeals to you. And then what have I got? Okay, this was a really good find that I found in a charity shop. It is the Penguin book of French verse, and I'm not sure if you can see that well on camera, but I think this book is just stunning. It's got 19th century poetry in it, basically French poetry, and I just think it's just gorgeous, and it's got some of my favourite poetry, and it's just really, really lovely, and it cost me £1. Ding, ding, ding. And yeah, this was first published in the 60s, I believe, this particular edition, so the translations aren't necessarily that fantastic. There's better ones available now, but just for such a beautiful book with lots of my favourite French poetry in it, I really, really love it. Basically it's got like the poem, and then at the bottom it's got like the translation in English, but it's just sort of shoved at the bottom, and it's quite literal translations, but still this is probably my favourite dual language book, to be honest. It's just gorgeous. Yep, what else have I got? Oh yeah, and then of course the other thing you could do is to buy the original French text and then get an English one. This is the same book, they have different titles for some reason in English and French, and this book is absolutely fantastic. It's so lovely. This is probably my favourite book that I read all year, and I read the whole thing in French. I went through it with my dictionary, and then when I finished a chapter I went and read it in English, and it's just so lovely. If you've never read Saint-Exupey, this book is really great. It's basically a story of his life, kind of his like life story. He was a pilot, and it's just really philosophical and really lovely stories that that really appeal to me, and I really liked this, and it was a bit more challenging, so I absolutely loved it so much that I bought all of his other books that he's ever written, and I'm going to make my way through those, so you could do that. And then finally, what I've got to show you is that you can buy, well, you don't have to buy, but this is a book in French, Jules Verne's Voyage to the Centre of the Earth. This is the French text, which I got given by a friend, which I think is lovely. It's got a shiny front cover on it. This is Le Livre de Poche. You can find the translations for free on Project Gutenberg, I think it's called, and they also have the French on there, so you could, if you're good at computers, you could get the French and the English off there and just read it on like an e-reader or your laptop or whatever. But I like to read the text in a book sometimes and then just check the English when I get a bit stuck on the computer, so that's kind of a fun alternative thing. There are tons and tons of books on Gutenberg and the internet that have both English and French translations, and they're really accessible and free, and if you're good with computers and e-readers and things like that, then that's a fun free option that you could use. You can also just use like Wikipedia. They often have, if you look down the side, it says like choose a language, and you can read the same thing in French and English, or you could just Google translate a French text, and although it's not going to be perfect, it's going to help you to understand the general meaning of what the text is trying to say and fill in any blanks of words that you just don't really get. So yeah, that's my recommendations. Let me know if you've read any great duolingual, bilingual books, and maybe I'll buy them. So alright, thanks, have a good new year, bye.